Okay, good morning, guys. As we have discussed in the previous lectures, that is the internal database structure. In that internal database structure, we were discussing about the table, columns, constraint, and data types, partition and subpartitions, users and sub schemas, indexes, cluster, and hash cluster. Today, we are discussing about the view. So, I think in the last lecture also we are discussing what is the view. So, today we are discussing about the sequences. Today we are discussing about what the sequences. Sorry. So, what are the sequences? What is the sequences? The sequence definition are stored in the data dictionary. What are the sequences? So, what is the sequence that we are stored in the data dictionary? Now, what is data dictionary? So, the data dictionary is nothing but the structure of my table where we have to store our data. Like what is the data fields and what are their data types, that is all about the data dictionary. So the sequences, that whatever the sequences that we have stored, these sequences are we can store in a data dictionary. So the sequences are usually the sequences are used to simplify the programming effort by providing a sequential list of unique numbers. So what are the sequences? So the sequences is used to store the sequences are used to simplify the programming effort by providing a sequential list of unique numbers. We have to give the sequences to our data dictionary tables where we have to program our data. Like in the unit number 2, we have discussing about the PLSQL programming. What is the PLSQL programming? In that PLSQL programming, we have to write a program in the form of sequences. So that is how we can simplify the programming effort by providing the sequential list of unique numbers. In the next unit, we are discussing about the PLSQL commands and PLSQL programming. So that is the where we can use the sequences. The first time a sequence is called by a query. Whenever we have to fire a query, this query, the first time it is called by the sequence. It returns a predetermined value. Whenever we have to fire a query, whenever we have to fire a query, this query is return some value. Definitely, if I'm going to fire a query like select the name from the student, so it gives me the value, the name of the students. So that is why we can fire a query and it returns me the predetermined value where the value is stored in our data dictionary. So this value is retrieved by firing a query. This is all about the sequences. So each subsequent query against the sequences will yield a value that increase by its specified increment. So whenever we have to give fire the subsequent queries, so it automatically increase my sequence up to the number. Sequence can cycle or may continue increasingly until a specified maximum value is reached. Whenever we have to fire queries, at the every firing of queries, subsequent queries, the sequence is incremented automatically, and when the cycle or when the cycle of the sequences or the continuing increasing this value until the maximum value is reached. When the maximum value is reached at that level, it is incremented my sequences. The next one is my procedure, function, packages, and triggers. As we know that the procedure, like I'm told you that in the second unit, we are discussing about the PLSQL programming. The second unit, we are discussing about the PLSQL programming. So a procedure, what is the procedure now? A procedure is a block of PLSQL statement that is stored in the data dictionary and is called by the application. So what is the PLSQL block? The block of PLSQL statement is nothing but what? The procedure. This procedure are stored in a data dictionary and is called by the application. So whenever we have to call a procedure, at that time, the block of PLSQL statement is executed, and when the block of statement is executed by the application, we have to give some output. We We can use procedure to store a frequently used application logic within the database. Whenever we have to use a procedure, so that procedure are used to store frequently used application logic within the database, where we can follow a procedure. That procedure is used to store the frequently used application. So when the procedure is executed, its statement are executed as a unit. When we have to run our program, so that program is nothing but the PLSQL statement, which is called the procedure. When this procedure is executed, its statement are executed. Complete statement as executed in a complete unit. The next one is the functions. As the function like a procedure, but the function are a block of code that are stored in the database. What is the function now? So the function is a block of code where this block of code is stored in our database. So the function are capable of returning value to the calling program. So the function is what? So the function that we have used in our procedure, this function is capable of returning a value to the calling program. Like we can discuss the functions or the methods in Java, or we can use the function in C programming or C++ programming. So that is the subroutine of my procedure. That is the subroutine of my program. So whenever we use the function in other programming languages like C or C++, where the function is returning a value, like in my PLSQL programming also, we can apply a function, we can call a function. So is this function is returning some value when we call a program. We can create our own function and call them within a SQL statement, just as we executed the function that Oracle provides. Like there are some default functions are there. By default function, we have to call the default function, but we can create also our own function. Like in other programming languages, in PLSQL also, we have to create our own functions, and by calling them, we have to run that function. Like by calling them, we have to run that function. So in the upcoming lectures, when we are going to discuss about the PLSQL programming, at that time I'm going to discuss you how we can write a procedure of PLSQL block of code, and how we can call a function, user defined function, or we can create our own function and call them. We can discussing in the unit number 2. The next one is the packages. Next one is what? Packages. Like in Java programming, there are different various packages are there. So in our PLSQL programming also, we are having the packages. We can use the packages to arrange a procedure and function into a logical grouping. So what we are stored in our packages? The packages are stored in the logical programming, logical grouping of our procedure and functions. That's the complete grouping that we are stored in our packages. So the packages are useful in administrative tasks required for management of procedure and function. Whenever we have to manage our procedures, whenever we have to manage our functions of our block of codes in our PLSQL programming, then our package is very useful to managing that particular procedures and functions. So the different elements within the package can be defined. So the packages is public or private. So the public element are accessible to the user of the package. Any user can access the public elements or the public element of the package, and the private is cannot be accessed, or the private element are hidden from the user. There are two different types of element in our package. The first one is a public and second one is a private. So the public element can be accessed to the user of the package. Any user can be access our packages, public elements in our package. But in a private, the private packages or the private element in our package are hidden from the user. That their private element may be include the procedure that called by the other procedure within the package. So that's why we have to give the private functioning, private programming, private procedure. So that is hide by the user. And the last one is a trigger. The last one is what? The trigger. Triggers are a procedure that are executed when a specified database event takes place. Now, what is a trigger? So trigger means what? Whenever we have to execute our any kind of a query, we have to fire a trigger. So we may use them to augment referential integrity, enforce additional security, or enhance the available auditing option. So why when we are fire a trigger, whenever we have to fire a trigger, so trigger it gives me the referential integrity of my query, enforce additional security. It provides a security to my query and it gives me the auditing option of my particular query. There are two different types of triggers that we have in our Oracle: the statement trigger and the row trigger. The statement trigger is what? The statement trigger fire once each trigger statement. Whenever we have to fire a query, whenever we have to fire a query, at that every time of query, the statement trigger is fire and the row trigger. So the row trigger is what? Fire once for each row in a table affected by a statement. Whenever we have to fire a statement. So this statement is applicable which row? That row is fired in a once whenever we fire a query. For example, whenever we have fire a query like delete a command or delete command, so that delete command is a statement query. That delete command is what? That delete command is a statement query. So this statement query is fired by once when we access our trigger. So this delete command is fired by. Now what is the row type level trigger? So the row level trigger as the same where we have to fire a delete command like the insert, update, delete. So after trigger, this event is occurring. Like we can fire a trigger. That trigger is about the inserting a database, updating a database, or deleting a database. So the statement trigger are useful if the code in the integer action does not rely on the data affected. Whenever we fire a trigger, by that trigger, data should not be affected. So this is all about by the procedure, function, packages, and triggers. Next, we're talking about the privileges and roles. Now, in the same topic, that is internal database structure, I'm going to tell you the user account. That is one of the element of my internal database structure, that is user, where we can create our own account, user account. So now when I am going to create my user account, at that time I'm not going to give any privileges, any roles to that particular account. That is the reason I'm not going to create a table, I'm not going to insert a value, I'm not going to update my database. So when we can going to create our account, at that time we have to give the privileges and roles to that particular account. So in order to access an object owned by the another account, the privileges access to that object must have been granted. We have to grant our privileges. We have to grant our roles to that particular account. Whenever we can create an account, another account in the system, at that time, what? We have to give the permissions, the privileges to that particular account. So privileges means what kind of privileges? The privileges is nothing but what? We have to insert a database, we have to create a database, we have to delete a database, we have to modify a database, or we have to update my tables and create a table space, give some sequences. We have to give some IDs, row IDs. So that is all the privileges that we have given when we can have the create account. So now non-owner are granted the privileges to insert, select, update, or delete row from a table. Whenever we have to create an account, and when we can grant the privileges to that particular account, at that time, we can insert a database, we can select a database, we can update a database, or we can delete the tables from a domain. So we can grant user privileges to select values from sequences and execute procedure, functions, package, and abstract data types. Whenever we grant any privileges to our account, that privileges give me the values of the sequences and execute we can procedures. We can execute a functions, we can execute a packages, and we can execute the abstract data types by granting the privileges to that particular account. We can create a roles, group of privileges to simplify the privileges management process. Whenever we granted any roles to that particular account, so that is the group of privileges that is used to simplify our roles. We can grant the role in terms of multiple users. We can have the grant to our users in terms of the multiple users. Whenever we can have the access or we can grant the privileges to the multiple users, we grant to select command to access that particular table. Here we can have diagram. Look at the diagram. In this diagram, we are discussing about the relationship between the roles of the relationship between my privileges and roles. Here the diagram is defined the relationship between the privileges and roles. Now look at the diagram. The diagram A is shows me the direct grant of privileges. To whom? To my user. User 1, user 2, user 3, user 4 are there. User 1 create a table A, user 2 create a table A, user 3 create a table A, user 4 create a table A. Likewise, user 1 create a table B, user 2 create a table B, user 3 create a table B, user 4 create a table B. When I'm going to grant the privileges to user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, this table A and table B is having the access to create a table, to insert a data into a table, to modify a table, to delete a table, to select a table. Now, in the diagram B, direct grant via roles. Now, we can have the role that is a group of privileges. The role is what? The group of privileges. So, the group of privileges that directly grant to the users and directly grant to my tables. Likewise, we can have access our tables from the user 1, user 2, user 3, and user 4. Like while completion of this lecture, I'm going to give the practically how we can give the privileges and roles to my account. First, I'm going to complete the topic, complete the lecture, and then I'm going to give you the example how we can have the create a user account, and after creating a user account, how we can access, how we can give the privileges and the roles to that particular account. Okay. The next one, the next element is a segment, extend, and blocks. As we know that the segment. So the segment are physical counterpart to the logical database object. What is the segment? Segment is nothing but it is the physical counterpart of to the logical database object. The segment store a data. What is we can store in a segment? In our segment, we can have store a data. So there are multiple number of segments are there. Index segment. There are index segment. In the index segment, we can store a data associated with the indexes. The segment is a physical entity. It must be assigned to a table space in a database. So what is the segment? Segment is a physical entity where we have to store, we have to assign our table space in our database. Now what is table space? Table space where we can use to store our data in our table space. So that table space is assigned to a database by applying a segment. The segment is made up of sections called extent. Now, what is the extent? The segment is made up of sections. The segment, whatever the segment that we have create our database, this segment is made up of the sections called the extent. The extent is a part of my segment. Once the existing extent in a segment can no longer hold new data, the segment will obtain another extent. Whenever we can apply, we can create a segment. In that segment, we can have the sections. This called sections is called this extent. So when any one of the extent is no longer needed, no longer hold a data, then the segment will automatically obtain the another extent. Okay. The extension process will continue as needed until no more free space is available in a table space or until an internal maximum number of extent per segment is reached. Okay, that is called the blocks. Now, what is the extension process? Whenever we can create an extension in our segment, the extension process will continue as needed until the no more free space. This extension process is continued until there is a no free space is available in the table space of a data file, or the internal number of maximum extent per segment is reached. When the maximum segment per reach is reached, at that time we can have create the next segment and then the next extent that we have created in our data. So that is all about in the internal database structure. We can have complete our internal database structure. The next lecture, in the next topic, we are discussing about the database file layout and the verification of input-output procedures. So in the next lecture, we are discussing about the database file layout. Now,